Hey YouTubers, you guys have been asking me for a new Thor Ragnarok, so I figured I'd talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy crossover elements. Kevin Feige clarified a few things about the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 that connected to Thor Ragnarok in a really roundabout way. So if you missed that part of the movie or you don't know what's going on, I'll try to explain. It's actually pretty cool and it's a little bit funny. There's a new round of the Marvel giveaway too, and I'm going back to the Spider-Man action figures for these. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video. So you may have heard that Kevin Feige clarified that they changed the way they allow Marvel movies to cross over. I know, blasphemy. Not allowing Marvel movies to cross over, that's part of the reason why we go see Marvel movies, because they're so connected. Well, you still have people like Robert Downey Jr. showing up in Spider-Man, you have Hulk showing up during Thor Ragnarok, they're still doing crossovers like that. But what he said that they've changed now in Phase 3 is that the movies are overlapping less. So like at the end of Iron Man 2, you see this big scene with Thor's hammer that tees up the next film. It lets you know exactly what's happening. They said that they're doing that less and less just because they don't have to anymore. But that doesn't mean that they're not doing crossover stuff. But hopefully you stayed through the credits and you spotted a really big Thor Ragnarok crossover. There was another one that you may have missed during the movie, and Kevin Feige clarified the bigger one. The bigger one I'll talk about first. So if you don't know who this is Jeff Goldblum's Grandmaster character. He seems kind of ridiculous, but don't let that fool you. He is a crazy powerful character from the comics. But the other one you may have missed was Korg. During the big jump sequences, they were making the 700 jumps to get to Ego. It was mostly about doing this comedy set piece that made it look kind of like a video game. You got to see Stan Lee during one of the stops. That made everybody in my theater crap their pants. During another stop, you got to see Korg bashing another member of his race on a derelict rock just in the middle of space. He is a huge Thor character. He's going to be in Thor Ragnarok as one of Hulk's Warbound. If you've never read the Planet Hulk storyline, or if you've never seen the animated version of the movie, he's just a member of this race. They also included a member of his race during Thor the Dark World. He was the guy that Thor reduced to rubble at the beginning of the film.
All yours.
Hello? I accept your surrender. Anyone else?
They're going to have another version of that scene during Thor Ragnarok where he's warming up in the arena, fighting his way up the ladder till he gets to his friend Hulk. So Korg is going to be like the warm-up match, but he's being played by Taika Waititi, the director of the movie. So it's a big Easter egg in Thor Ragnarok, but it also serves as a big point of crossover for Guardians of the Galaxy. The Grandmaster Elders of the Universe crossover is way more subtle, but it's actually a much bigger deal. You may have noticed that the Collector is nowhere to be found during Guardians of the Galaxy 2. They just didn't use Benicio del Toro. He has been seen on the set during Infinity War, so he'll be back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for the really big stuff. But if you're a big Disney fan, you may have spotted the Collector's Fortress in the background of the Thor Ragnarok trailer on Sakaar. So the planet Sakaar in the movie Thor Ragnarok is very different from the comic book version of the planet. In the comic book, it's ruled over by this despot called the Red King. In the movie, it's ruled over by the Grandmaster Jeff Goldblum, who just holds these elaborate games. And you see all these Jack Kirby visuals in the background, implying that there's a lot of big people that frequent the planet. When he's sitting here in his office talking to Valkyrie about, "What did you bring me?" and she's very clearly wheeled up Thor, "I brought you a contender." In the background of this shot, you can actually spot the Collector's Fortress. So the Collector's Fortress is not the place that you spotted in Nowhere where the Guardians took the Power Stone to him. He has a fortress that's much bigger, more elaborate, and they've turned it into a ride at Disneyland that's going to open this summer. The Disney ride stuff in real life is a little bit different. Like, they work all kinds of stuff from the Marvel movies into there. There are a whole bunch of Easter eggs inside his fortress. Like, what is he collecting? It's meant to be this self-contained interactive story. But this is what it looks like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So the Collector and the Grand Master are brothers, not so much in the blood sense, more in the fraternity sense, in that they are some of the oldest living beings in the universe. Now, not quite as old as Ego the Living Planet, as he says he's a celestial, so he's one of the first beings ever. But as you probably remember, the Collector is hardcore about collecting all of the Infinity Stones. Now, he obviously wants to wield the power for himself. Do not be fooled by Space Liberace. He's also very powerful and very dangerous. We don't know exactly where the Infinity Gem is going to show up during Thor Ragnarok, but very clearly a gem is in play. The Collector is going to have knowledge of it. There'll be some minor elements of crossover in that sense. When we get a little bit closer, we'll talk more about the Elders of the Universe. They're really weird people, and now that we know Celestials exist in the universe, they're still alive. If Ego's still alive, then there've got to be some other Celestials that are still alive out there somewhere. So the more space-based movies we get, the more celestial beings we'll probably meet. But the Elders of the Universe, even though they each have their own goals, tend to work together when it suits their needs. They even tried to bring the Infinity Gems together in the comics to get rid of Galactus. I know everybody wants to see the Netflix series cross over with the movies. Well, the Grand Master actually used the Defenders against one of Doctor Doom's robots called the Prime Defender. Now, obviously, there's a big problem because you can't do Doctor Doom characters, but there have been times in the comics when grand cosmic beings have influenced the lives of the street-level heroes and taken them on crazy adventures. So there's always opportunities for them to do really outlandish stuff, even if the Netflix series are staying relatively grounded right now. The big bad of the Netflix series is actually going to be Sigourney Weaver's character. She's the head of the Hand organization. So as mystical as the Hand has gotten with resurrecting people, that's about as crazy as it's going to get on the TV shows for now. But the other really funny reason why Kevin Feige said that they added Jeff Goldblum to the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is because they're like, okay, he's going to be in Thor Ragnarok, he's the brother of the Collector, a big Guardians character, and we have all this footage of him dancing, so why don't we just stick it on there for fun in a sort of a wink to that connection. So I love the idea of Marvel doing Easter eggs just because they're funny, even if they have very important implications for the next movie. Which James Gunn kind of implied when there was a big set visit. A bunch of journalists went and they were talking about post-credit scenes, and he said, you know what, I think of post-credit scenes as a really fun opportunity to do dumb shit. Just do the dumbest, most funny thing you could think to do. So that's how you get to stuff like Teenage Groot, that's how you get Sylvester Stallone and the original Guardians. But I've already done a big Guardians post-credits video, so I'll link that at the end of this because so much stuff happened during that. Seriously, if you haven't seen that movie, please go see it. It is crazy. What's going to happen next is the showrunners confirm some really big stuff about the villains next season for Arrow and Flash, so I'll do a video for that. But I have new Spider-Man Homecoming previews that I'll probably try to do in the next couple days. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening on Sunday, so I'll try to get that stuff out as fast as possible. Congratulations to the latest giveaway winner, Gabriel Jabran. Please private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. While you wait for that, click here for all those Guardians post-credits and click here for brand new Spider-Man. Thank you so much for watching. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.